It starts on a Friday evening. I've just walked through the door, expecting the comforting warmth of my home after a grueling week at work. Instead, there's a strange tension in the air, a silence that feels out of place. Normally, my wife, Rachel, greets me with a kiss, but tonight, she's nowhere to be seen. Her car is in the driveway, the lights in the living room glow softly, but she's not there. Rachel? I call out, my voice bouncing off the walls. No answer. My gut twists. Something feels wrong. I move toward the kitchen, where I hear faint laughter, hers, but it's muffled, as if she's trying to keep it down. I step closer and stop cold. Her voice is clear now, and she's not alone. Another voice, deep and smug, responds to her giggling. My pulse spikes, anger mixing with confusion. Slowly, I approach the door to the den, keeping my steps light, my breath steady. Peering in, I see her, sitting too close to him on the couch, her coworker, Jared. Jared is a guy I've always been wary of. He's the type who laughs too loudly at his own jokes and makes everyone else feel like the punchline. Rachel always insisted he was just a friend, but seeing them now, I know better. They're sharing a bottle of wine, his hand grazing hers. My chest tightens. That's not how friends act. I should burst in right then, demand an explanation, but something stops me. I want to know how deep this goes. Instead, I step back and head upstairs. My mind races as I quietly open her laptop in the office. Password protected. Of course. My eyes shift to her phone on the kitchen counter, carelessly left charging. Jackpot. I open her messages, my hands trembling with fury. There it is, thread after thread of flirtation, secrets, and lies. Jared, can't wait to see you tonight. Rachel, I've been thinking about you all day. My jaw clenches as I scroll further, each text a dagger to my chest. I see words that make my blood boil. Hotel bookings, late-night rendezvous, and their next planned meeting. But the final blow comes when I notice something else, a transaction notification. She's used our shared account to pay for these escapades. My stomach churns. She didn't just betray me emotionally. She's spending my hard-earned money to do it. I take a deep breath, steadying myself. I've seen enough. For now, I'll let her think she's won, that her secret is safe. But inside, I'm already crafting my response. This won't end with me being the fool. When I finally head downstairs, they're in the middle of another round of wine. Rachel glances up, startled, guilt flashing in her eyes for a split second before she recovers. "You're home early," she says with forced cheer. I smile tightly, my voice calm. Long day at work. Thought I'd relax with my loving wife. I glance at Jared, my tone ice cold as I add, and her friend. Jared stands, extending a hand. "Hey man, good to see you again." His confidence is a punch to my gut, but I take his hand, squeezing just hard enough to make him wince. Likewise, I say, my eyes boring into his. It's always nice to know who's been keeping my wife company. Rachel stiffens, her eyes darting between us. "Jared was just stopping by to discuss some work stuff," she stammers. "Of course," I reply smoothly. "Work must be very stimulating." She laughs nervously, but her discomfort fuels my resolve. Let her squirm. She has no idea what's coming next. The rest of the evening is a carefully choreographed performance. I play the part of the oblivious husband, nodding at their half-hearted explanations, watching Rachel flush red whenever I make a subtle jab. Jared leaves after an awkward goodbye, his eyes darting to Rachel as if seeking reassurance. She doesn't meet his gaze. Once he's gone, I sit on the couch, silent, staring at the blank TV screen. Rachel fidgets, avoiding my eyes. "You okay?" she finally asks, her voice tentative. I turn to her, my face neutral. "Sure. Just tired, I guess." She hesitates, probably sensing the tension, but doesn't push. "I'm heading to bed," she says, kissing my cheek lightly. Her lips feel cold, unfamiliar. "Don't stay up too late." I watch her retreat up the stairs, my mind racing. She thinks she's in control, that she can explain away her lies. Not this time. The next morning, she's gone before I wake up, leaving a note on the counter. "Meeting the girls for brunch. Be back later." A classic move. I know better. By now, I've accessed everything I need. Her emails, calendar, even Jared's address. Every piece of information paints a clearer picture of their betrayal. It's not just an affair. It's a carefully planned web of deceit. I don't waste time. While she's out, I start planting seeds for my response. First, I gather evidence, screenshots of messages, bank statements, receipts. I know the law, and I'm going to use it to my advantage. If she wants to betray me, I'll make sure she pays for it in every way possible. Next, I call a lawyer, a sharp, no-nonsense woman recommended by a trusted friend. Her voice is calm but firm as she explains my options. "You're in a strong position if you have proof," she says. "We can ensure she doesn't walk away with more than she deserves. But you'll need to stay composed." Composed. That's the word that sticks with me as I plan my next move. It would be easy to lash out, to confront her and Jared in a fit of rage. But that would give them power, make me look weak. No, I need to stay one step ahead. By the time Rachel returns home, I've already set things in motion. She walks in with a forced smile, carrying a shopping bag. "Hey, hon. How was your morning?" "Productive," I say, matching her fake cheer. "Did you have fun with the girls?" She hesitates for a split second, then nods. "Yeah, we had a great time." I smile, but it doesn't reach my eyes. Good to hear. Over the next few days, I play the role of the doting husband, all while tightening the noose around her lies. I call in favors, track her movements, and even hire a private investigator to document her late-night work meetings. The evidence piles up, each piece sharpening the blade I'm preparing to drop. Then comes the night of their next planned rendezvous. According to the messages I intercepted, they've booked a room at a boutique hotel downtown. My jaw tightens as I read the details, but I force myself to stay calm. This is the moment I've been waiting for. At exactly 7 p.m., I park my car across the street from the hotel, my heart pounding in my chest. Through the lobby window, I spot Jared, his cocky grin making my blood boil. A few minutes later, Rachel walks in, her hair and makeup done like she's going on a first date. My fists clench, but I remind myself to stay focused. This isn't about emotions. It's about control. They don't notice me as they head to the elevator, laughing like teenagers. I wait until the doors close before stepping inside. The receptionist barely glances at me as I walk past. I already know the room number. When I reach their door, I pause, taking a deep breath. My hand hovers over the knob, but I don't knock. Instead, I pull out my phone and press record, capturing the muffled voices and laughter from inside. This will be the final piece of evidence, the nail in the coffin. I turn and walk away, my heart heavy but resolute. Tomorrow, Rachel will face the consequences of her choices. But tonight, I'll sleep knowing I've taken the first step toward reclaiming my life. The next morning begins with a carefully crafted plan. I wait until Rachel is busy with her morning routine. She's oblivious, humming softly as she brushes her hair, completely unaware of the storm brewing. Meanwhile, I prepare the documents, printouts of text messages, bank statements, and the video recording from the hotel hallway. I even include copies of her recent financial transactions, proving she's been funding her little escapades with our joint account. By the time she sits down for breakfast, I'm ready. I slide the envelope across the table, my face calm but my heart pounding. "What's this?" she asks, her tone light but wary. "Open it," I say evenly. She hesitates, then flips open the envelope. Her smile falters as she scans the pages. Her face drains of color when she reaches the screenshots of her messages with Jared. Finally, she looks up at me, her eyes wide with panic. "This isn't what it looks like," she stammers. I lean back in my chair, crossing my arms. "Isn't it? Because it looks like you've been lying to me for months. It looks like you've been sneaking around with that bastard while pretending everything's fine at home." Her hands tremble as she sets the papers down. "I can explain. Don't bother." I cut her off, my voice cold. "The evidence speaks for itself. I gave you trust, Rachel. I gave you everything, and this is how you repay me." She starts to cry, but I feel nothing. The sight of her tears, which once would have softened me, now only fuels my anger. "You don't get to play the victim here," I snap. You made your choices, and now you'll face the consequences. Her sobs grow louder, but I press on. I've already spoken to a lawyer, I say, my tone steady. We'll be filing for divorce immediately. Don't expect to get a dime more than what the law requires. And Jared? He'll be hearing from HR. I've forwarded all this to his company. Her head snaps up, her eyes wide with shock. You wouldn't try me, I say, my voice like steel. You think you can humiliate me, destroy everything we built, and just walk away unscathed? Think again. She reaches across the table, her voice desperate. Please, let's talk about this. We can work through it. I stand, my chair scraping loudly against the floor. You should have thought about that before you decided to betray me. I'm done talking, Rachel. Without another word, I grab my keys and head for the door. As I step outside, the crisp morning air hits me, and for the first time in weeks, I feel a sense of clarity. The pain is still there, sharp and biting, but so is a newfound resolve. The next few days are a whirlwind. My lawyer moves quickly, filing the paperwork and freezing our joint accounts to ensure Rachel can't drain them. I also contact Jared's company, providing them with the evidence of their affair. By the end of the week, he's been suspended pending an investigation. Rachel, meanwhile, becomes a shadow of her former self. She tries to plead, to bargain, but I refuse to engage. Every tearful apology, every excuse only strengthens my resolve. This isn't about revenge anymore. It's about reclaiming my life. One evening, I return home to find her packing her things. She looks up as I walk in, her face streaked with tears. I'm sorry, she whispers. I didn't mean for it to go this far. I stand in the doorway, watching her. Part of me wants to lash out, to scream at her for what she's done. But instead, I take a deep breath and say, I hope it was worth it. Her shoulders slump, and she nods silently. I don't wait for a response. I head upstairs, leaving her to finish packing. By the time I come back down, she's gone. The house feels empty without her, but it also feels lighter. For the first time in months, I'm not weighed down by suspicion and doubt. I'm free. The next step is rebuilding. I focus on my work, my health, and my relationships with friends and family. Slowly but surely, I start to feel like myself again. The man I was before Rachel's betrayal. Weeks later, I receive a message from Jared. He's lost his job, his wife has left him, and he's blaming me for everything. I don't bother replying. He's not worth my time. This is just the beginning of my new chapter. Months pass, and life begins to take on a new rhythm. The initial sting of betrayal fades, replaced by a quiet determination to rebuild what was broken. I focus on my career, pouring my energy into projects that challenge and fulfill me. My nights are no longer spent haunted by suspicion, but by brainstorming ways to create a future on my terms. Then, one day, the perfect opportunity for closure lands in my lap. I'm at a networking event, the kind I usually avoid. But something nudged me to attend this one, and I'm glad I did. As I sip my drink and scan the room, my eyes land on Jared. He's standing in a corner, looking disheveled and out of place, trying to make small talk with a group that barely acknowledges him. The sight is almost pathetic. Almost. Curiosity gets the better of me, and I strike up a conversation with an acquaintance nearby. Jared, right? I say casually, nodding in his direction. What's he doing these days? The man chuckles. Not much. Word is, his career's in the toilet after some HR scandal. No one wants to touch him now. He's lucky to even get invited to these things. I suppress a smile. The fallout from his choices has clearly caught up with him. But I'm not here to gloat. I'm here to send a message. As the evening winds down, I make my move. Jared's alone now, nursing what looks like his third or fourth drink. I walk up to him, my steps measured, my expression calm. Jared, I say, extending a hand. Good to see you. He looks up, startled, his face flushing as he recognizes me. For a moment, he hesitates, then shakes my hand weakly. Hey, he mutters. How are you? Better than ever, I reply, my smile razor sharp. I hear things aren't going so well for you. He flinches, then tries to laugh it off. Yeah, well, life has its ups and downs. True, I say, my tone cool. But some of those downs are self-inflicted, wouldn't you agree? He stiffens, his bravado crumbling. Look, man, I never meant for things to get messy. Messy? I echo, leaning in slightly. That's an interesting way to describe betraying someone who trusted you. But don't worry, I'm not here to rehash the past. I just wanted to thank you. His brow furrows in confusion. Thank me? Yes, I say, my voice steady. For showing me who you really are. For freeing me from a life built on lies. And for reminding me that justice has a way of catching up with people like you. He opens his mouth to respond but finds no words. I pat his shoulder, a gesture that's more condescending than comforting, and turn to leave. As I walk away, I feel a sense of satisfaction that no courtroom or confrontation could have provided. The rest of the evening is uneventful, but I leave with a renewed sense of purpose. Jared is nothing more than a cautionary tale now, a reminder of how far I've come and how much further I'll go. Back home, I sit on the couch with a glass of whiskey, reflecting on everything that's happened. The betrayal, the anger, the revenge. It's all behind me now. What lies ahead is a future of my own making, unburdened by the lies of others. I take a sip of my drink, savoring the warmth that spreads through my chest. The man I was before all this is gone, replaced by someone stronger, wiser, and unyielding. And for the first time in a long time, I feel at peace. The next chapter of my life begins with a clean slate. I've moved into a new apartment in the city, a sleek, minimalist space that feels like a fresh start. Every detail of this place is mine. The furniture, the art, even the view from the floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the skyline. It's a far cry from the shared suburban house that now feels like a distant memory. I throw myself into work, taking on new clients and projects that push me to my limits. Success comes quickly, and with it, a sense of control I haven't felt in years. My colleagues notice the change in me. More confidence, sharper focus. It's as if shedding the weight of Rachel's betrayal has unlocked a part of me I didn't know existed. But despite the progress, there are still moments when the past creeps in. Late at night, when the city quiets and my thoughts grow louder, I think about the years I spent with her. The good times, the laughter, the plans we made. All of it tainted now. It's not regret I feel, but a bitter mix of nostalgia and relief. She's out of my life, and I'm better for it, but the scars remain. Then, one day, I get an unexpected phone call. Hey, it's Rachel, she says, her voice hesitant. I grip the phone tighter, my heart pounding. What do you want? I wanted to talk, she says. I know I don't deserve it, but I need to explain. I consider hanging up, the anger bubbling beneath the surface. But curiosity gets the better of me. You've got 2 minutes, I say flatly. She hesitates, then launches into a rambling apology. She talks about how she didn't realize what she had until it was gone, how Jared turned out to be a mistake, how she's lost everything and doesn't know how to move forward. I just wanted to say I'm sorry, she finishes, her voice breaking. I know I hurt you, and I'll regret it for the rest of my life. There's a long silence as I process her words. Part of me wants to yell, to tell her exactly how much damage she caused. But another part of me feels nothing at all. She's just a voice on the other end of the line, a ghost from a life I've left behind. I'm glad you called, I say finally, my tone calm but firm. Not because I needed to hear your apology, but because it proves one thing. I'm better off without you. She lets out a shaky breath, but I don't wait for her response. I end the call, setting the phone down with a sense of finality. That night, I sleep better than I have in years. The weeks that follow are filled with milestones, promotions at work, new friendships, even a few dates. I'm careful not to rush into anything, but for the first time in a long time, I feel open to the possibility of love. Not the blind, all-consuming kind that led me down this path, but something grounded, built on trust and mutual respect. One evening, as I sit on my balcony watching the city lights, I realize how far I've come. The man who once stood on the edge of heartbreak and despair is gone, replaced by someone stronger, wiser, and unafraid of what lies ahead. This isn't the end of my story. It's just the beginning of a new chapter, one I'm writing on my own terms. Months turn into a year, and the distance from Rachel's betrayal allows me to see life with a clarity I've never known before. I've built something remarkable from the ashes of what she destroyed. My work thrives, my social circle grows, and I've even started taking up hobbies I neglected. Running, photography, even joining a local boxing gym. The boxing becomes a metaphor for my life. Each jab, each block, each calculated strike reminds me that I'm not the same man who once passively accepted lies and manipulation. In the ring, I control the narrative, just as I do in the rest of my life now. I channel my frustration, my energy, into every swing, leaving each session stronger than when I started. But Rachel's reach isn't entirely gone. One day, I get a letter in the mail. The envelope is plain, with her handwriting scrawled across the front. Against my better judgment, I open it. It's not a plea for forgiveness this time. It's a request for help. She's losing the house, struggling to find work after word of the scandal spread, and she's asking if I'd consider giving her a loan. The audacity of it makes me laugh out loud. She signs off with a desperate line about how she can't do this without me. For a moment, I sit with the letter in my hands, the weight of her words pressing against me. But then, I take a deep breath, crumple it up, and toss it into the trash. I've learned my lesson. Her problems aren't mine anymore. Instead of letting her drag me back into her chaos, I focus on the things that truly matter. My parents, who stuck by me through the darkest days, beam with pride whenever we talk. My closest friends, who always knew something was wrong in my marriage, finally see me happy. And then there's someone new, a woman I met during one of my photography workshops. Her name is Elena. She's sharp, funny, and completely uninterested in playing games. Our connection is easy, built on honest conversations and shared interests. She's not the rebound I feared I might fall into. She's something more. One evening, we're sitting in a quiet cafe, laughing over something ridiculous. For the first time in years, I realize I'm not looking over my shoulder, not wondering if the ground will fall out from beneath me. It feels real, steady, and grounded. As the weeks with Elena turn into months, I find myself reflecting less on the past and more on the future. I don't tell her everything about Rachel, at least not yet, but she knows enough. When I finally do share the full story, she listens without judgment, her hand warm on mine. "You've been through hell," she says, her eyes soft but serious. "But you're not there anymore. You've come out stronger." Her words hit me harder than I expect. She's right. I survived the betrayal, the heartbreak, the aftermath, and I've built a life I'm proud of. For the first time, I allow myself to hope for something lasting. The final closure comes in the form of a phone call I never expected. Jared, of all people. His voice is hoarse, almost defeated. "Look, I know I have no right to ask, but can we talk?" The urge to hang up is strong, but curiosity holds me back. "What do you want, Jared?" He pauses, as if searching for the right words. "I wanted to apologize. For everything. I ruined my life, and I know I hurt yours too. I guess I just wanted you to know I regret it." There's a silence on the line as I consider his words. They don't change anything, but they feel oddly satisfying. "I appreciate the apology," I say finally. "But you and we're done. Don't call again." I hang up, feeling a strange sense of relief. Not because I forgave him, but because I've finally let it all go. Rachel, Jared, the pain they caused, it's all in the past now. As I sit on my balcony that night, watching the city lights twinkle like stars, I realize I've won. Not in a petty, vindictive way, but in the only way that truly matters. I've reclaimed my life, my happiness, and my peace. This is my story, not of betrayal, but of resilience. And as I raise a glass to the future, I know it's a story that's only just beginning. With the weight of the past lifted, my days become filled with purpose. Each morning, I wake up in a space that feels like my own, free from the tension that once defined my life. My work continues to flourish, and Elena becomes a steady presence, a partner, not a distraction. But there's still one final chapter to close. I've avoided going back to the old house, the one Rachel insisted on keeping during the divorce proceedings. It's been months since she moved out after losing it to foreclosure. The thought of seeing the place, our former home, fills me with dread and determination in equal measure. One Saturday, curiosity finally gets the better of me. I drive out to the neighborhood, my chest tightening as the familiar streets come into view. The house sits at the end of the cul-de-sac, its once pristine lawn overgrown, the paint on the shutters peeling. It's a shadow of the home it used to be, a physical reminder of how much things have changed. I park across the street and sit for a moment, memories flooding back. The laughter we shared, the dreams we built, the lies that unraveled it all. For a fleeting moment, I consider driving away. But then I take a deep breath and step out of the car. The front door is boarded up, the mailbox stuffed with junk. I walk around to the backyard, my footsteps crunching on the brittle grass. The patio furniture is still there, rusting in the elements. I remember the countless evenings we spent out here, sharing meals and talking about the future. It feels like another lifetime. I stand there for a long time, letting the memories wash over me. It's bittersweet, but it doesn't hurt the way I thought it would. Instead, I feel a quiet resolve. This place, these memories, don't define me anymore. They're part of my story, but not the whole story. As I turn to leave, I catch sight of something glinting in the grass. I bend down and pick it up, a small, tarnished keychain. It's the one I gave Rachel on our first anniversary, engraved with our initials. I turn it over in my hand, the metal cool against my skin. For a moment, I consider keeping it as a reminder. But then I shake my head and toss it back into the grass. I don't need mementos to move forward. The life I'm building now is all the reminder I need. The drive home feels lighter, freer. I'm done with the house, with Rachel, with all of it. The future is mine, and I'm ready to embrace it. That evening, I meet Elena for dinner. She greets me with a smile that warms me in a way I haven't felt in years. Over wine and laughter, I tell her about visiting the house, about letting go of the last pieces of my old life. "I'm proud of you," she says, her hand resting on mine. "You've come so far." Her words stay with me long after dinner, as we walk through the city streets, the world around us buzzing with life. I realize she's right. I'm not the same man I was when this journey began. I've faced heartbreak, betrayal, and anger, and I've come out the other side stronger. As we stop to admire the city skyline, Elena leans her head on my shoulder. For the first time in a long time, I feel at peace. The road ahead is uncertain, but I'm not afraid. I've learned to trust myself, to build a life that's worth living. This is my story, a story of resilience, growth, and hope. And as I stand here, looking out at the endless possibilities before me, I know one thing for certain. The best is yet to come. A year after the confrontation with Rachel, life feels unrecognizable, in the best way possible. My work has reached new heights, bringing opportunities one once only dreamed of. Elena and I continue to grow closer, and though we're taking things at a steady pace, it feels right. Every decision I make now is deliberate, every step forward unencumbered by the shadows of my past. One day, as I'm finishing up a project at work, my phone buzzes with a notification. It's from an old mutual friend, Greg, someone Rachel and I used to hang out with when everything seemed perfect. I haven't spoken to him in years. Curiosity gets the better of me, and I open the message. "Hey man, just heard about Jared. Thought you'd want to know." Attached is a link to a local news article. I hesitate, my thumb hovering over the link. Part of me doesn't want to open it, doesn't want to drag myself back into that chapter of my life. But another part, the part that craves closure, pushes me to click. The article is brief but damning. Jared has been arrested on charges of fraud and embezzlement. He'd been skimming money from his company's accounts for years, using it to fund his lifestyle after his suspension from work. The details are messy, but the outcome is clear. His reputation, what little was left of it, is in shambles. I sit back, the phone still in my hand, and let out a slow breath. It's not satisfaction I feel, exactly, but a sense of finality. Jared's actions caught up with him, just as I knew they eventually would. And Rachel? I can only imagine where she fits into all of this, but the thought barely registers. The difference now is that it doesn't matter. Their chaos is no longer mine to bear. They made their choices, and I've made mine. That evening, I share the news with Elena. She listens, her brow furrowing slightly, but she doesn't say much. When I finish, she simply squeezes my hand. "It's over now," she says softly. Her words stick with me. It is over. Not just Jared's downfall or Rachel's betrayal, but the entire chapter of my life that revolved around their actions. For so long, I let their choices define me, but now, I've reclaimed my narrative. A few weeks later, I get another call, this time from my lawyer. The divorce proceedings are officially finalized, and everything has been settled. The relief I feel is palpable. I no longer have to share any part of my life with Rachel, even on paper. To celebrate, I invite Elena over for dinner. It's nothing fancy, just something I've whipped up in my new kitchen. As we sit together, the soft glow of candles illuminating her face, I feel a sense of contentment I haven't known in years. "Thank you," I say suddenly, the words surprising even me. She tilts her head, her expression curious. "For what?" "For being here. For showing me that it's possible to start over." Her smile is warm, and she reaches across the table to take my hand. "You did that on your own," she says. "I'm just lucky to be part of it." Later, as we sit on the balcony, the city lights sparkling like a sea of stars, I reflect on everything that's brought me to this moment. The heartbreak, the betrayal, the anger. It was all necessary to lead me here. I'm not the same man I was, and for that, I'm grateful. This is the beginning of something new, something better. My story isn't defined by the pain of the past, but by the strength I've gained in overcoming it. And as I look at Elena, her laughter ringing out into the night, I know one thing for certain. The future is mine, and it's brighter than ever. The journey forward unfolds with surprising ease. Each day feels like a step further from the darkness and closer to a life I've consciously designed. My relationship with Elena continues to flourish. We complement each other in ways I never thought possible. Where I am cautious, she's daring. Where I am calculated, she trusts her instincts. Together, we find a balance that feels effortless. One evening, over dinner, she brings up something I hadn't considered. "Have you thought about doing something for yourself? Beyond work, I mean?" I pause, the question catching me off guard. "What do you mean?" "Well," she says, setting her glass down, "you've been so focused on rebuilding everything. Your career, your life, even us. But what about something just for you? A passion project, a hobby?" Her words linger in my mind long after she leaves that night. What do I want for myself? It's a question I haven't asked in years. My identity had been so tied to my marriage, to Rachel, that I forgot how to dream outside of those constraints. The next morning, I make a decision. I dust off my old camera, the one I hadn't touched in years, and head out to the park. Photography had been a love of mine long before Rachel, and as I wander the city, snapping shots of life unfolding around me, I feel a spark I thought was long gone. The photos are raw, unpolished, but they capture something real, moments of joy, struggle, and quiet beauty. I start sharing them on social media, not for validation, but to simply put them out into the world. The response is overwhelming. Friends and strangers alike comment on the emotion behind the images, encouraging me to keep going. What starts as a casual pastime quickly becomes something more. I begin dedicating weekends to exploring new locations, capturing the essence of places and people. Elena often joins me, her laughter filling the quiet moments between shots. It's not just a hobby. It's a reminder of who I am and who I can become. One day, as I'm editing photos in my apartment, an email pops up on my screen. It's from a local gallery, one I've admired for years. They've seen my work online and want to feature it in an upcoming exhibit. For a moment, I stare at the screen in disbelief. Me? An exhibit? When I tell Elena, she throws her arms around me, her excitement infectious. "You deserve this," she says, her voice brimming with pride. "I told you, you're capable of so much more than you realize." The night of the exhibit is surreal. Friends, colleagues, and strangers mill about, admiring my photos, discussing the stories they tell. I catch snippets of conversations, someone marveling at the way I've captured light, another pointing out the raw emotion in a candid portrait. Amid the crowd, I spot a familiar face. It's Greg, The friend who sent me the article about Jared. He approaches me with a sheepish smile. I had to see it for myself, he says, gesturing to the photos. You've come a long way. Thanks, I reply, shaking his hand. It's been a journey. We talk briefly, and as he walks away, I realize how far I've truly come. The man standing in this gallery, surrounded by people who appreciate his work, is not the same man who once felt lost and betrayed. This man is whole, confident, and unafraid to take risks. Later that night, as I stand with Elena on the balcony, I feel a sense of peace I never thought possible. The betrayal, the anger, the pain. They're all chapters in a book that's still being written. And the chapters ahead? They're full of promise. You're quiet tonight, Elena says, leaning into me. I wrap an arm around her, a smile playing on my lips, just thinking about how grateful I am. For this. For you. She looks up at me, her eyes warm. You deserve it. All of it. As I hold her close, watching the city lights twinkle in the distance, I know she's right. This is my life. One I've rebuilt with care, intention, and strength. And for the first time, I feel ready to embrace whatever comes next. Months after the gallery exhibit, life feels richer and more layered than I ever imagined possible. My photography career begins to take on a life of its own, leading to collaborations with local artists and small businesses who want me to capture the essence of their work. It's fulfilling in a way that my previous life never was. Each project reminds me that I'm in control of my narrative now, no longer living in someone else's shadow. Elena becomes my greatest supporter, pushing me to take risks I would have otherwise avoided. One evening, as we sit on the couch reviewing some of my recent photos, she tilts her head thoughtfully. You ever think about traveling with your photography? She asks. I glance at her, intrigued. What do you mean? I mean, you've got a gift, she says, tapping one of the prints. Imagine what you could capture in places you've never been. New faces, new landscapes. It could be incredible. The idea sticks. Over the next few weeks, I start planning a trip, a real one, not the kind Rachel and I used to talk about but never followed through on. This time, it's all on my terms. I book a ticket to Italy, a place I've always dreamed of visiting but never had the chance to explore. When I tell Elena, she beams with excitement. You're going to love it, she says, her eyes sparkling. And I can't wait to see what you create. The trip becomes more than just a journey. It's a rediscovery of myself. Wandering through the cobblestone streets of Florence, capturing the golden light over the Tuscan hills, standing in awe beneath the arches of the Colosseum. I feel alive in a way I haven't in years. Each photograph tells a story, not just of the places I visit, but of the man I'm becoming. One evening, as I sit at a cafe overlooking a bustling piazza, I reflect on the path that brought me here. The pain of Rachel's betrayal, the anger that once consumed me, feels distant now, like a bad dream I've finally woken from. What remains is a sense of gratitude, not for what happened, but for the strength I found in moving past it. When I return home, my photos from Italy spark a wave of interest. A major gallery reaches out, offering me a solo exhibit. It's an opportunity one would have never imagined a year ago, but now, it feels like a natural next step. Elena is there every step of the way, her belief in me unwavering. The night of the exhibit is a celebration, not just of the work I've created, but of the life I've rebuilt. Friends and family gather to admire the photos, their words of encouragement filling the room. Even Elena's parents attend, their warm smiles making me feel like part of their family. As the evening winds down, Elena takes my hand, pulling me aside. There's something I've been wanting to say, she begins, her voice steady but tinged with emotion. I look at her, my heart pounding. What is it? She smiles, her eyes shining. I'm proud of you. For everything. And I'm so glad we found each other. Her words hit me harder than I expect. For so long, I believed love was something that would always come with conditions, with strings attached. But with Elena, it's different. It's real, honest, and unwavering. I'm glad we found each other too, I say, my voice thick with emotion. You've been my light in the darkest times. As we stand there, surrounded by the people who matter most, I realize this is what happiness looks like. It's not about erasing the past, but building something better in its place. And with Elena by my side, I know the future holds endless possibilities. This is the life I've fought for, the one I've earned. And as I step into the next chapter, I do so with hope, strength, and a heart finally at peace. The months that follow the exhibit bring a whirlwind of growth, not just in my career, but in every aspect of my life. I take on more photography projects, collaborate with new clients, and even mentor a few budding photographers who remind me of the passion I felt when I first picked up a camera. My work becomes a reflection of the life I've built, honest, raw, and full of light. Elena continues to be my anchor, her presence a steady source of encouragement and joy. We start spending more time together, talking about dreams, goals, and even the possibility of a future as partners. The idea doesn't scare me anymore. If anything, it excites me. For the first time, I see love as a partnership, not a gamble. One evening, as we're walking through a park bathed in the warm glow of sunset, she turns to me with a playful smile. "So," she says, nudging me with her elbow, "what's next for the great photographer?" I laugh, shaking my head. "You always have to ask the big questions, don't you?" "Of course," she says, her eyes sparkling. "Someone has to keep you on your toes." I pause, considering her question. The truth is, I've been thinking about my next big move for weeks now. I want to teach, I say finally. Not full-time, but maybe workshops or lectures. Share what I've learned with people who are just starting out. Her smile widens. "That's perfect for you. You have so much to give." The idea takes root, and within weeks, I'm organizing my first workshop. It's a small group, just a handful of aspiring photographers eager to learn. As I guide them through techniques and concepts, I'm struck by how far I've come, not just in my craft, but in my confidence. Standing there, sharing my knowledge and passion, I feel a sense of purpose I hadn't known I needed. The workshop is a success, and more opportunities follow. Invitations to speak at events, collaborations with other artists, even a feature in a prominent photography magazine. Each milestone feels like another step toward the life I've always dreamed of, one defined by creativity, freedom, and authenticity. But amid all the growth, there's one last piece of unfinished business. Rachel reaches out again, this time through a mutual acquaintance. She wants to meet, to talk face to face. My initial reaction is to refuse, to close that door for good. But after some thought, I realize I don't need to avoid her anymore. I've moved on, and nothing she says can change that. We meet at a cafe, the same one where I once sat with Elena, dreaming of a better future. Rachel looks different, tired, worn down by the choices she's made. She starts with another apology, but I stop her. "I don't need apologies," I say, my tone calm. "What's done is done. I've moved on, and I hope you find a way to do the same." She nods, her eyes glistening with tears. "You've changed," she says softly. "You seem happier." "I am," I reply simply. "And I hope you can find happiness too. But that part of my life is over." The conversation ends on a surprisingly civil note, and as I walk away, I feel lighter. Meeting Rachel doesn't stir up the pain I once feared it would. Instead, it reaffirms how far I've come. That evening, I tell Elena about the meeting. She listens quietly, her hand resting on mine. "I'm proud of you," she says, "for facing it head-on." "Thanks," I say, squeezing her hand. It feels like the final piece of the puzzle. The weeks turn into months, and life continues to unfold in beautiful, unexpected ways. My workshops expand, my relationships deepen, and Elena and I begin to talk seriously about our future together. It's not just about healing anymore, it's about thriving. As I stand on the balcony one quiet evening, watching the city lights flicker below, I reflect on the journey that brought me here. The betrayal, the heartbreak, the anger. They were all part of the process, stepping stones to a life I wouldn't trade for anything. This is my story, one of resilience, growth, and rediscovery. And as I look to the future, I know it's a story that's far from over. The best is still to come. The years that follow are marked by milestones I never thought I'd achieve. My photography workshops expand beyond the city, turning into multi-day retreats in picturesque locations. I find myself teaching in the mountains of Colorado, the vineyards of Napa Valley, and even the cobblestone streets of Prague. Each place brings new inspiration, new faces, and new stories to tell through my lens. Elena and I grow closer with every step forward. Our relationship, once something I hesitated to embrace fully, becomes a partnership built on trust and shared ambition. One evening, as we sit by a crackling fire after a day of hiking in the Rockies, she looks at me with a smile that melts away the last of my doubts. "Have you ever thought about what forever looks like?" she asks softly. The question doesn't scare me like it once might have. Instead, it feels like the most natural thing in the world. I reach for her hand, my heart steady. "With you?" It looks pretty damn good. We decide to take the next step a few months later, planning a small, intimate ceremony with only our closest friends and family. The day is perfect, simple, elegant, and filled with love. As I stand at the altar, watching Elena walk toward me, I feel a peace I've never known. This is where I'm meant to be, and this is the woman I'm meant to share my life with. But the story doesn't end there. Life, as I've learned, is full of surprises. Not long after our wedding, I receive an offer that changes everything. A publisher approaches me about creating a book of my photography. They've seen my work from Italy and other travels, and want to compile it into a collection that tells a story of resilience and rebirth. The idea excites me, and I dive into the project with Elena by my side. The book, titled Through the Lens, A Journey of Redemption, becomes a labor of love. Each photo is paired with a narrative about the places I've been, the people I've met, and the lessons I've learned. It's not just a book of images, it's a testament to the life I've rebuilt. When the book is released, the response is overwhelming. It resonates with people in ways I never anticipated, sparking conversations about overcoming adversity and finding beauty in the chaos. I'm invited to speak at events, to share my story alongside the images that captured each step of the journey. One evening, after a book signing, a man approaches me with a tearful smile. "Your story changed my life," he says, gripping my hand. "I was going through something similar, and seeing how you turned it around, it gave me hope." His words stay with me long after the event ends. It's a reminder that the pain I once carried wasn't in vain. It led me here, to this moment, where I can use my story to inspire others. Back at home, Elena and I sit together on the couch, flipping through the pages of the book. She rests her head on my shoulder, her voice soft. "You've come so far," she says. "I hope you're proud of yourself." I smile, my heart full. I am, and I'm grateful for all of it. The journey hasn't been easy, but it's been worth it. The betrayals, the heartbreak, the rebuilding, they've all shaped me into the person I am today. And as I look ahead, I know the future holds even more adventures, challenges, and triumphs. This is the story of my life, not defined by betrayal, but by resilience, growth, and the unshakable belief that the best is yet to come. Years later, the life I've rebuilt feels not just like a second chance, but like the life I was always meant to live. The book, Through the Lens, A Journey of Redemption, continues to touch lives, inspiring messages from strangers around the world who share their stories of hardship and renewal. Some even join my workshops, carrying their own cameras and determination to capture their stories through a different lens. Elena and I settle into a life of quiet joy, punctuated by the kind of adventures we both crave. We travel often, exploring places we'd only dreamed of. From the vibrant markets of Marrakesh to the serene fjords of Norway, every trip feels like a chapter in a story we're writing together. Photography is no longer just my passion. It becomes a shared experience as Elena picks up her own camera to explore her perspective. One autumn afternoon, as the leaves scatter in the breeze outside our home, Elena approaches me with a mischievous smile. "I have a surprise for you," she says, her voice teasing. I raise an eyebrow. "Should I be worried?" "Not at all," she replies, handing me a small envelope. Inside is an itinerary, a 2-week trip to Japan, a destination I've longed to visit. I thought it was time for us to go somewhere new, somewhere magical. My heart swells. She knows me better than I know myself sometimes. "You're amazing," I say, pulling her into a hug. "This is perfect." The trip to Japan becomes one of the most transformative experiences of my life. The blend of ancient traditions and modern innovation inspires a new series of photos, ones that explore themes of harmony and contrast. When we visit Kyoto during cherry blossom season, I capture images that feel like poetry, soft, fleeting, and deeply profound. One photo, of Elena standing beneath a cascade of pink blossoms, becomes my personal favorite. It captures everything she means to me: beauty, resilience, and the quiet strength that carried me through the hardest times. Back home, the photo of Elena beneath the blossoms becomes the centerpiece of my next exhibit, titled Stillness and Storms. The series explores the duality of life, the chaos and the calm, the heartbreak and the healing. It's my most personal work yet, and the reception is overwhelming. People see themselves in the images, connecting to the vulnerability and strength they reflect. One evening, after the exhibit's opening, I find myself standing alone in the gallery, looking at the photo of Elena. She joins me, slipping her hand into mine. "You've done it again," she says softly. "You've turned pain into something beautiful." I turn to her, my voice steady. "You helped me see the beauty in it." She smiles, her eyes shimmering with emotion. What's next? It's a question I've come to love, because it reminds me that the journey never truly ends. There's always more to discover, more to create, more to build. The years stretch ahead, filled with endless possibilities. I know there will be challenges, moments of doubt, and perhaps even new heartbreaks. But I also know I have the strength to face them, the resilience to overcome them, and the love to carry me through. This is my story, a story that began with betrayal but has transformed into one of growth, connection, and hope. And as I stand here, holding Elena's hand, I know the future is not just bright, it's boundless. As the years pass, the life I've rebuilt continues to grow in unexpected and beautiful ways. Elena and I settle into a rhythm that feels effortless yet vibrant, filled with moments of quiet contentment and shared excitement. Our travels remain a cornerstone of our lives, each trip an opportunity to see the world and ourselves anew. But life, as I've learned, is never static. Challenges still arise, and I face them with the strength I've cultivated through years of adversity. One such challenge comes in the form of an invitation, a request to speak at a global conference on resilience and personal growth. The theme is overcoming life setbacks, and they've chosen me as a keynote speaker. At first, I'm hesitant. Sharing my story in intimate workshops or through my photography feels natural, but standing on a stage in front of thousands of people, that's a different kind of vulnerability. Elena, as always, is my sounding board. "You've done this already," she reminds me as we sit on the balcony one evening. "Your book, your workshops, even your exhibits, they're all about sharing your story. This is just another way to do that." Her words stick with me, and after much thought, I accept the invitation. The weeks leading up to the conference are a blur of preparation, revisiting memories I thought I'd buried, and crafting a message that feels authentic. I want to inspire, yes, but I also want to be honest about the struggles and setbacks that shaped me. The day of the conference arrives, and as I stand backstage, my heart pounds in my chest. The host introduces me, their voice booming over the applause of the crowd. I take a deep breath and step onto the stage, the spotlight warm on my skin. For a moment, I stand there, looking out at the sea of faces. Then I begin, my voice steady but filled with emotion. I share everything: the betrayal, the anger, the rebuilding, and the unexpected joy that followed. I talk about the power of resilience, of finding beauty in pain, and of creating a life that feels true. When I finish, the room erupts into applause. People stand, their faces filled with understanding and gratitude. It's a moment I'll never forget, not because of the applause, but because of the connection I feel with each person in that room. We've all faced battles, and in sharing mine, I've reminded them that they're not alone. After the conference, people approach me with stories of their own. Some are heartbreaking, others uplifting, but all are a testament to the human spirit. One woman, tears streaming down her face, thanks me for helping her see that it's never too late to start over. Another man shakes my hand, telling me he's finally ready to leave behind a toxic relationship. Back home, Elena greets me with her usual warmth. "How did it go?" she asks, pouring us both a glass of wine. I smile, the weight of the experience still fresh in my mind. Better than I ever imagined. It felt important. "It was," she says, her eyes shining. "You're making a difference." Her words are a reminder of how far I've come, from a man broken by betrayal to someone capable of inspiring others. The journey hasn't been easy, but it's been worth every step. As the years unfold, the life Elena and I create together is rich with love, laughter, and purpose. We talk about starting a family, building something that feels even more permanent. And while the idea once scared me, now it feels like the natural next step in our story. This is the life I've built. Not perfect, but perfectly mine. It's a testament to resilience, to the power of love and self-discovery, and to the belief that even the darkest moments can lead to the brightest futures. And as I look ahead, I know one thing for certain. The best is always yet to come. The decision to start a family becomes one of the most profound chapters in this new life Elena and I have built. It's not a choice we rush into, but one we embrace with open hearts and thoughtful consideration. We both understand the weight of it, the joy it promises, and the responsibility it carries. And yet, the moment we decide we're ready, there's an unspoken excitement in our shared gaze. The months that follow are filled with quiet anticipation. We prepare a room in our home, its walls painted a soft, calming blue, shelves lined with books and trinkets that carry stories of their own. Each piece we add feels like a promise, a life yet to be lived, a bond yet to be formed. When we find out Elena is pregnant, the news comes as a quiet, almost sacred joy. She surprises me with the announcement one evening, handing me a small wrapped box. Inside is a photo of a sonogram, and beneath it, a note that simply says, "We're starting the next adventure." I'm speechless at first, the weight of the moment sinking in. Then I pull her into a hug, holding her as if I could protect her from the entire world. "I can't wait," I whisper, my voice thick with emotion. "You're going to be an amazing mom." The months of her pregnancy pass like a blur, yet every moment feels vivid. I document it all through my lens, the glow on her face, the way her hands rest protectively on her growing belly, the small but meaningful milestones along the way. It's not just about preserving memories. It's about honoring the journey we're on together. When the day finally comes, it's as if the world stops. The hours at the hospital are a mix of nerves, awe, and love so intense it feels almost unbearable. And when our daughter is born, the first cry filling the room, it's as if the universe itself has shifted. Holding her for the first time is a moment I'll never forget. She's so small, so perfect, her tiny fingers curling around mine. Elena watches from her hospital bed, her face radiant despite her exhaustion. "She has your eyes," she says softly, her voice filled with wonder. "And your strength," I reply, my throat tight with emotion. We name her Sophia, a name that feels like wisdom and light. From the moment she enters our lives, everything changes, and yet it feels as if she's always been part of us. The days that follow are a beautiful chaos of sleepless nights, quiet feedings, and the kind of joy that can't be measured. I find myself staring at her in awe, marveling at how someone so small can hold so much meaning. She becomes my muse, my greatest inspiration, and every photo I take of her feels like capturing a piece of heaven. One evening, as I rock her to sleep, I reflect on the journey that brought me here. The betrayal that once felt like an ending was, in truth, a beginning. It led me to Elena, to the life we've built, to the tiny miracle cradled in my arms. Every hardship, every moment of doubt, was worth it to reach this place. Elena joins me, her head resting on my shoulder as we watch Sophia sleep. "We've come a long way," she whispers. I nod, my heart full. "And we've got so much further to go." This is the life I've dreamed of, not without its challenges, but rich with love, purpose, and connection. It's a life defined not by the betrayals of the past, but by the strength and hope that rose from them. As I look at Elena and Sophia, I know this is only the beginning of a story that will continue to unfold, full of adventures, laughter, and moments of quiet joy. The best is not just yet to come. It's here, now, in the arms of the people I love most. As Sophia grows, life becomes a kaleidoscope of milestones, laughter, and tender moments. Every day brings something new, a first smile, a hesitant step, a cascade of giggles that light up our home. Elena and I navigate the joys and challenges of parenthood together, a team strengthened by the journey we've shared. Sophia's curiosity is boundless. She's drawn to my camera, often reaching for it with her tiny hands. One day, I decide to indulge her curiosity. I place an old camera in her lap, showing her how to look through the viewfinder. She peers through it, her little fingers fumbling with the buttons, and when she presses the shutter, the sound makes her squeal with delight. "That's our girl," Elena says, watching from the doorway, "already following in your footsteps." I laugh, scooping Sophia into my arms. She's going to be better than me someday. As the years pass, our lives settle into a rhythm that feels both ordinary and extraordinary. My photography career continues to grow, with new opportunities that allow me to travel and share my work with audiences around the world. But no matter where I go, I always return to the home we've built, a sanctuary filled with love, laughter, and the quiet chaos of family life. Sophia's interest in photography blossoms as she gets older. By the time she's 5, she has her own small camera, a gift from Elena and me on her birthday. She takes it everywhere, capturing her world with the unfiltered perspective only a child can have. Her photos of flowers, her toys, and even us become treasures, a glimpse into the way she sees the world. One evening, as we sit together flipping through one of her photo albums, she looks up at me with wide eyes. "Daddy, what do you take pictures of?" "Everything," I say, smiling. "Things that make me happy. Things that tell a story." She tilts her head thoughtfully. "Can I take pictures with you?" The question melts my heart. "Of course, sweetheart. We can take pictures together." From that moment, photography becomes a bond between us. We venture out on many adventures, exploring parks, city streets, and beaches with our cameras in hand. Watching her discover the world through her lens reminds me of why I fell in love with photography in the first place. The ability to freeze a moment, to find beauty in the ordinary. Elena joins us on many of these outings, her laughter ringing out as she watches Sophia dart from one subject to the next. Together, the three of us create memories that feel timeless. Each photo we take becomes a piece of our story, a reminder of the love and resilience that brought us here. As Sophia grows older, her creativity only deepens. She begins drawing, writing, and experimenting with different forms of art. Elena and I encourage her every step of the way, marveling at the way her mind works. She's a blend of both of us, Elena's boldness and my introspection, her own unique spark tying it all together. One day, as I'm sorting through old boxes in the attic, I come across a framed photo, an image of Rachel and me from years ago. For a moment, I pause, memories flickering like an old film reel. But the emotions that surface are not anger or sadness. They're gratitude. Gratitude for the journey, for the lessons, for the strength I found in the aftermath. I set the photo aside, choosing not to dwell on the past. My focus is on the present, on the life I've built with Elena and Sophia, on the endless possibilities that lie ahead. That evening, as we sit together on the couch, Sophia snuggled between us, I feel an overwhelming sense of peace. This is the life I once thought was impossible. A life filled with love, joy, and purpose. And it's only just beginning. Looking at Elena and Sophia, I know one thing for certain. The best chapters of our story are yet to be written. As the years continue to pass, the life we've built grows richer and more fulfilling. Sophia blossoms into a vibrant, curious young girl who lights up every room she enters. Her passion for photography evolves into a broader love of storytelling. She begins writing short stories to pair with her photos, weaving narratives that astound both Elena and me with their depth and creativity. Watching her discover her voice fills me with pride, knowing that she's creating a life uniquely her own. Elena and I continue to balance the joys of parenting with the intimacy of our relationship. We make time for quiet evenings, spontaneous weekend getaways, and simple rituals that keep us connected. Whether it's sharing a bottle of wine on the balcony or dancing in the kitchen to old songs, these moments become the foundation of our enduring bond. One summer, we decide to take a family trip to Europe. It's Sophia's first time traveling abroad, and her excitement is infectious. We visit Paris, where she marvels at the Eiffel Tower, Rome, where she sketches the Colosseum from a shaded bench, and a small village in Tuscany, where we spend lazy afternoons exploring vineyards and cobblestone streets. One evening, as the sun sets over the rolling hills, Sophia asks me a question that catches me off guard. "Daddy, were you always this happy?" I pause, her words stirring memories of the man I once was. "No, sweetheart," I say honestly. "It took me a while to get here, but every step was worth it." She seems to ponder my answer, then nods solemnly. "I'm glad you're happy now." Her words stay with me long after she falls asleep that night. They remind me of how far I've come, not just from the betrayal that once defined my life, but from the doubts and fears that held me back. I'm not just living, I'm thriving, surrounded by the love of the family I've built. Back home, the rhythm of life resumes, each day a blend of familiar routines and unexpected joys. My photography continues to evolve, shifting toward projects that feel more personal and meaningful. I begin working on a new book, one that combines my photos with the stories they tell. This time, I invite Sophia to contribute her own work, and together, we create something that feels truly collaborative. The book, titled Reflections, A Journey Across Generations, becomes a celebration of the life we've built and the lessons we've learned. Its release is met with overwhelming support, with many people touched by the way our family's story unfolds through its pages. Elena, ever my partner in every endeavor, becomes the glue that holds it all together. Her unwavering belief in me, in us, is a constant source of strength. On the night of the book's launch, as we stand together in a crowded gallery, she looks at me with the same warmth and confidence that first drew me to her. "You've created something beautiful," she says, her voice filled with pride. "We've created something beautiful," I reply, pulling her close. As Sophia grows into her teenage years, I marvel at the woman she's becoming. She's strong, compassionate, and fiercely creative, a reflection of the love and resilience that define our family. Watching her chase her dreams reminds me of the importance of forging your own path, of embracing both the triumphs and challenges that come your way. One quiet evening, as we sit together in the living room, Elena reading, Sophia sketching, and me sorting through a new batch of photos, I feel an overwhelming sense of gratitude. This is the life I've built, not in spite of the past, but because of it. Every moment, every choice, has led me here, to a life filled with love, purpose, and boundless possibility. Looking ahead, I know there will be more milestones, more adventures, and more challenges. But I also know that with Elena and Sophia by my side, there's nothing we can't face. This is our story, and it's far from over. As Sophia enters her teenage years, our family continues to grow closer, even as life pulls us in different directions. She's blossoming into an extraordinary young woman, with a sharp mind and a boundless creativity that astounds both Elena and me. Her photography has become a serious passion, and her first exhibit, a collection of portraits she took during a summer volunteering program, draws a crowd far beyond what any of us expected. Standing beside her at the opening, I feel a swell of pride. She's nervous, her hands clasping and unclasping, her eyes darting to me for reassurance. "What if they don't like it?" she whispers. I kneel to her level, meeting her anxious gaze. "They're going to love it, because it's you in every photo. Your heart, your perspective. And that's something only you can share." Her lips twitch into a small smile, and she squeezes my hand. "Thanks, Dad." Watching her greet visitors, answering their questions with a confidence she didn't know she had, I realize how much she's grown, not just in her talent, but in her understanding of herself. It's a reflection of the life Elena and I have worked so hard to create for her, a life rooted in love, trust, and resilience. Back at home that night, Elena and I sit together on the couch, her head resting on my shoulder. "She's amazing, isn't she?" Elena murmurs. "She is," I reply, my voice filled with emotion. "She's going to do incredible things." And she'll have us cheering her on every step of the way, Elena adds, her hand intertwining with mine. The years pass in a blur of milestones. Sophia's high school graduation is a day filled with joy and tears as she walks across the stage with a radiant smile, her camera slung over her shoulder. She's accepted into a prestigious art school where she plans to study photography and storytelling, a path that feels both familiar and uniquely her own. As we drive her to her dorm on move-in day, the car is filled with a mix of excitement and melancholy. Elena and I help her settle in, unpacking boxes and setting up her small space. When it's time to say goodbye, Sophia hugs us both tightly, her voice trembling as she says, "I'll miss you." "You'll do great," Elena says, her eyes glistening with tears. And we're just a phone call away. As we drive back home, the house feels quieter, emptier. But it's a good kind of quiet, the kind that comes from knowing you've given someone the wings to fly. Elena and I lean on each other during the transition, finding solace in the new chapter we're entering together. One evening, as we sit on the balcony watching the stars, I reflect on how far we've come. Do you ever think about how different life could have been? I ask Elena. She smiles, her gaze steady. Sometimes, but I wouldn't trade this for anything. Neither would I. The life we've built, the family we've nurtured, is more than I ever dreamed possible. And as we look ahead to the years still to come, I know there are more adventures waiting for us. As Sophia begins her journey into adulthood, Elena and I step into a new phase of our lives. With more time to ourselves, we revisit passions we had set aside during the busy years of parenting. For me, that means diving deeper into photography, not just as a profession, but as a personal expression of the life I've lived. Elena, ever the adventurer, suggests we take a long trip, just the two of us. "Let's go somewhere we've never been," she says one evening, her eyes alight with excitement. "Somewhere we can just be." We choose New Zealand, a place known for its breathtaking landscapes and sense of wonder. The trip becomes a rediscovery of each other, a reminder of the connection that brought us together. We hike through lush valleys, marvel at towering cliffs, and share quiet moments on secluded beaches. Each sunrise and sunset feels like a celebration, not just of the beauty around us, but of the love we've nurtured through every twist and turn of life. During one of our hikes, I set up my camera to capture a wide shot of a mountain range. As I adjust the focus, Elena steps into the frame, her silhouette outlined by the golden glow of the setting sun. The image takes my breath away. In that moment, she embodies everything I've fought for: resilience, love, and the strength to move forward. When we return home, life continues its steady rhythm, but the trip leaves a lasting imprint on us both. I begin working on a new project, a series of photographs that reflect the themes of growth, connection, and the passage of time. Elena supports me every step of the way, offering her insight and encouragement as I pour my heart into the work. Meanwhile, Sophia thrives in art school. Her updates come in the form of late-night phone calls and emails filled with photos of her projects. She's finding her voice, discovering who she is, and it's a joy to watch. One day, she calls with news that leaves me speechless. "Dad," she says, her excitement barely contained, "one of my photos got selected for a national competition. They want to feature it in a gallery." I can't help but laugh, overwhelmed with pride. "That's amazing, sweetheart. You've earned it." Her work, much like her, is bold and fearless, unafraid to explore the complexities of life. When we attend the gallery opening a few months later, I see the same light in her eyes that I once felt in myself. She's found her place in the world, and I couldn't be prouder. As the years roll on, milestones blend into memories, each one adding to the tapestry of our lives. Sophia graduates from college, lands her first big photography job, and eventually moves to a city of her own. Elena and I watch her soar, knowing we've given her the tools to build a life she loves. Back at home, our own journey continues. We embrace the simplicity of our days, quiet mornings spent sipping coffee, afternoons tending to the garden, evenings lost in conversation. It's not flashy or grand, but it's ours, and it's perfect. One night, as we sit on the porch beneath a canopy of stars, Elena leans her head on my shoulder. "Do you think we've done enough?" she asks softly. I take her hand in mine, my heart full. We've done more than enough. We've built something beautiful. And we have. The life we've created, rooted in love, resilience, and hope, is a testament to everything we've overcome. It's a life that began with betrayal but grew into something extraordinary, a reminder that even the darkest moments can lead to the brightest futures. As we sit there, the night stretching endlessly before us, I know one thing for certain. The story isn't over. There are more adventures to be had, more love to share, more life to live. The years continue to unfold with a steady rhythm of growth and joy, yet life, as it always does, brings its share of challenges. Elena and I face them together, our bond only strengthening as time tests our resilience. Sophia, now fully immersed in her career, becomes a rising star in the photography world. Her work graces magazines, galleries, and even humanitarian campaigns, her images capturing the raw beauty of human connection. One day, as I sort through my own collection of photos, I receive a call that stirs emotions I hadn't expected. Sophia's voice is hesitant, yet tinged with excitement. "Dad, I've been offered a position with a major international nonprofit. They want me to document their work in underprivileged communities around the world." "That's incredible," I say, my pride evident. "Are you ready for something like this?" "I think I am," she replies, her confidence growing. "But it'll mean being away for a long time. Months, maybe even years." The realization hits me with a bittersweet weight. I've always known this day would come, the day she would truly spread her wings and venture into the world on her own. "If it's what you want, we'll support you every step of the way," I say firmly. Her relief is palpable. "Thank you, Dad. You've always believed in me, and that means everything." As Sophia embarks on her journey, Elena and I adjust to the quiet that settles over our home. It's not an emptiness, but a peaceful stillness, one filled with the echoes of the life we've built. We take comfort in knowing Sophia is chasing her dreams, just as we once encouraged her to do. The next few years bring moments of immense pride as we follow her adventures through her photos and updates. She captures the resilience of people rebuilding after disasters, the hope of children receiving education for the first time, the quiet beauty of cultures untouched by the chaos of modern life. Her work touches countless lives, including ours. At home, I continue to explore my own creative projects, often collaborating with Elena, who has discovered her passion for writing. Together, we create a book that combines my photography with her words, a celebration of love, resilience, and the journey we've shared. When it's published, the response is overwhelming, with readers resonating deeply with its message of hope and renewal. One evening, as we sit together by the fireplace, Elena rests her hand on mine. "Do you ever feel like we've done it all?" she asks, her voice thoughtful. I smile, thinking of everything we've built, the family, the adventures, the love that's carried us through. "Maybe," I say, "but that just means we can focus on the simple things now." And we do. Our days become a celebration of the little moments, a sunrise walk, a shared laugh, the quiet contentment of knowing we've lived fully and loved deeply. Life isn't about grand gestures anymore. It's about the steady, unwavering presence of each other. As Sophia returns home between her assignments, her stories and photos fill our house with renewed energy. She speaks of the lives she's touched, the lessons she's learned, and the gratitude she feels for the foundation we gave her. Watching her thrive is the greatest gift of all, a reminder of the legacy we've created together. One evening, as we sit around the dinner table, Sophia shares an idea. "What if we worked on a project together? You, me, and Mom. Something that combines all our talents." The thought sparks a fire in all of us, and the next chapter of our story begins. Together, we embark on a collaborative journey, one that blends my photography, Elena's writing, and Sophia's unique perspective. It becomes a family project, a celebration of creativity, love, and the bond that unites us. As we complete the project and see it come to life, I realize that life's greatest joys often come not from the milestones, but from the connections we nurture along the way. This story, my story, has been one of resilience, growth, and unshakable hope. And as I look at the life we've created, I know the best chapters are the ones we write together. The family project becomes a labor of love, something that unites us in a way we hadn't expected. Late nights are spent brainstorming, collaborating, and sharing our individual strengths. Sophia's photographs tell stories of hope and resilience from the farthest corners of the world. Elena's words weave those images into powerful narratives, and I provide the visual and emotional framework to tie it all together. The final result is a multimedia exhibit titled Threads of Life. It debuts in a prominent gallery in the city, attracting not just art enthusiasts but also activists, dreamers, and families looking for inspiration. The opening night is electric, the air buzzing with emotion as people wander through the exhibit, moved by the stories we've captured together. At one point, I step back to observe the crowd. A father leans down to explain one of Sophia's photos to his young daughter, his voice filled with awe. A couple stands hand in hand, tears glistening in their eyes as they read one of Elena's passages. I feel Elena's hand slip into mine, and I turn to see her smiling. "You've created something remarkable," she says softly. "No," I reply, squeezing her hand. "We've created something remarkable." Sophia approaches us, her expression glowing with pride and gratitude. "This wouldn't have been possible without you," she says, wrapping her arms around both of us. "Thank you for teaching me how to see the world this way." Her words are a reminder of the journey we've taken, not just as individuals, but as a family. The exhibit becomes more than just a showcase of our work. It's a celebration of the love, resilience, and connection that define us. In the months that follow, Threads of Life travels to galleries and community centers around the country, touching countless lives along the way. The project sparks conversations about the human spirit, about the importance of creating something meaningful even in the face of challenges. It's a legacy that extends beyond our family, reaching people we may never meet but whose lives are enriched by the stories we've shared. As life settles back into its familiar rhythm, Elena and I find ourselves embracing the slower pace. We spend quiet mornings tending to the garden, afternoons walking through the woods, and evenings reminiscing about the adventures we've had. Sophia, ever the wanderer, continues her work abroad, but she always finds her way back to us, bringing stories and laughter that fill the house with warmth. One summer evening, as the three of us sit on the porch watching the sunset, Sophia asks a question that catches me by surprise. "Dad, do you ever think about what's next for you?" I smile, her words sparking a familiar sense of introspection. "I don't know," I admit, "but I think that's the beauty of it. Life has a way of surprising us." She nods, her gaze thoughtful. "I hope I can create something like this someday, a family, a life that feels so full." "You will," Elena says, her voice steady and certain, "because you already know how to love, how to persevere, and how to see the beauty in everything." As the sun dips below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of orange and pink, I realize how far I've come. The betrayal that once shattered my world is now just a distant memory, a small part of a much larger story. What remains is the life I've built, one defined by love, resilience, and the endless possibilities that lie ahead. This is my story, but it's also theirs. It's a story of redemption, growth, and the unbreakable bonds of family. And as I sit here with Elena and Sophia, the stars beginning to twinkle above us, I know that the best part of any story is that it never truly ends. As the years turn into decades, the story of our family continues to evolve, shaped by the choices we make and the love we share. Sophia's career blossoms into something extraordinary. She becomes a renowned photojournalist, her work appearing on the covers of magazines and winning prestigious awards. She travels to places I only dreamed of seeing, her images sparking conversations and driving change in ways that make us endlessly proud. Elena and I step into our later years with grace and gratitude. Our days are filled with the quiet joys of a life well lived. Coffee on the porch as the sun rises, walks through the woods, evenings spent reminiscing about the adventures that brought us here. We embrace the simplicity of this stage, knowing that it's a gift to be able to share it together. One autumn afternoon, as we sit by the fireplace flipping through old photo albums, I notice a change in Elena. She's quieter than usual, her gaze lingering on certain images longer than others. When I ask if she's okay, she gives me a small smile. I'm just thinking, she says softly, about everything we've built, everything we've been through. It's a lot to take in. I reach for her hand, holding it tightly. It's been a beautiful life, hasn't it? She nods, her eyes glistening with unshed tears. More beautiful than I ever imagined. Sophia visits often, her presence filling the house with energy and laughter. She brings stories of her travels, photos that capture the essence of faraway places, and sometimes, a special someone who seems to bring a spark to her life. Watching her build her own life, her own version of happiness, is the greatest joy of all. One evening, as we sit around the dinner table, Sophia surprises us with an announcement. I'm starting a new project, she says, her voice brimming with excitement. It's about family, about how the bonds we create shape the stories we tell, and I want to include you both in it. Elena and I exchange a look, both of us smiling. We'd be honored, I say. What do you need from us? Just your stories, she replies. Your memories, your wisdom, everything that makes us us. The project becomes a celebration of our family's journey, a legacy we can pass down to future generations. Sophia interviews us, capturing moments of laughter, tears, and quiet reflection. She incorporates photos from our past, blending them with her own work to create something truly unique. When the project is complete, it's unveiled as a multimedia exhibit titled Roots and Wings. The title is Sophia's way of honoring the foundation Elena and I gave her, the roots to ground her and the wings to let her soar. The exhibit is a stunning tribute to the power of love, resilience, and the connections that define us. As I stand in the gallery, surrounded by the story of our lives, I feel an overwhelming sense of peace. This is what it means to live fully, not without pain or struggle, but with the courage to grow and the grace to heal. In the years that follow, life takes on a quieter rhythm. Sophia starts a family of her own, and Elena and I step into the role of grandparents with joy and pride. Watching our grandchildren discover the world brings a new kind of wonder to our lives. Their laughter fills the house, their curiosity reminding us of the magic that exists in even the smallest moments. One evening, as I sit on the porch with Elena, the sun dipping below the horizon, I reflect on the journey that brought us here. The betrayal that once seemed insurmountable is now just a faint memory, a stepping stone to the life we've built. What remains is the love that has carried us through, the love of a partner, a daughter, and a family that is everything I could have hoped for. This is my story, but it's also theirs. A story of resilience, growth, and the unshakable bonds that make life worth living. And as I watch the stars begin to fill the sky, I know one thing for certain. The best stories don't have endings. They just continue to evolve, shaping new chapters for those who come next. In the twilight years of our lives, the days become quieter, but no less meaningful. The house that once echoed with Sophia's laughter and the bustling energy of her youth now holds the sounds of Elena and me moving through our routines with a quiet harmony. It's a life steeped in love and memories, each day a reminder of how far we've come. Our grandchildren bring a renewed sense of purpose to our lives. They run through the house with the same unbridled joy that Sophia once did, their tiny hands reaching for the cameras I've kept over the years. One of them, a little boy with my sharp eyes and Sophia's curiosity, takes a particular interest. "Grandpa, how do you take pictures like you do?" he asks one afternoon, holding up a small, battered camera. I kneel beside him, smiling as I guide his hands. "It's not just about the camera," I say. "It's about what you see and how you feel. Pictures tell stories, and every story comes from the heart." He looks up at me, his brow furrowed in concentration. "Can I tell stories too?" "Of course you can," I reply, ruffling his hair. "And I can't wait to see them." Passing down my love for photography to the next generation feels like a full-circle moment. It's not just about the art. It's about the connection, the ability to capture life's fleeting beauty and share it with others. Watching my grandson explore this passion fills me with pride and a sense of continuity, as if the legacy Elena and I have built will live on in ways we never imagined. Sophia visits often, her family in tow. The house fills with laughter and stories, the years melting away as we sit around the table sharing meals and memories. One evening, as we watch the children play in the yard, Sophia turns to me with a thoughtful expression. "Dad," she says, her voice soft, "have you ever thought about writing it all down? Your story, I mean, for the kids, for me, for all of us." I consider her words, the weight of them settling in my chest. "I suppose I have," I admit, "but I never thought anyone would want to read it." She laughs, shaking her head. "Are you kidding? Your story is the reason I'm here, the reason we're all here. It's not just yours, it's ours." Her words stay with me long after she leaves. That night, I sit down at my desk with a blank notebook and begin to write. The words come slowly at first, but as the memories flow, so do the lessons, the triumphs, the moments of doubt and redemption. It becomes more than just a story. It becomes a testament to the resilience of love, the power of family, and the beauty of life's unpredictability. Elena joins me in this project, her perspective adding depth and richness to the narrative. Together, we create something that feels timeless, a book not just for our family, but for anyone seeking hope and connection in the face of life's challenges. When the book is finished, it's not a bestseller or a global phenomenon, but it doesn't need to be. It's a gift to our children and grandchildren, a reminder of where we've been and the strength that carried us through. As the years stretch on, life becomes a series of quiet, precious moments. Watching a sunrise with Elena, holding hands as we walk through the woods, listening to the sound of our grandchildren's laughter. It's these small joys that define the life we've built. One evening, as we sit together on the porch, the stars twinkling above us, Elena turns to me with a smile. "Do you think they'll remember us this way?" she asks softly. I nod, my heart full. "I hope so. But more importantly, I hope they remember how much they're loved." And with that, I realize the greatest legacy isn't in the photos or the books or the exhibits. It's in the love we leave behind, the connections we've nurtured, and the stories that continue to grow long after we're gone. This is the final chapter of our story, but not the end. It's a beginning for those who come after us, a foundation built on love, resilience, and the belief that no matter how dark life may seem, there's always a way forward. As I sit beside Elena, her hand in mine, I know one thing with certainty. Our story will live on, not just in memories, but in the hearts of those we've touched. Have you ever faced moments that tested your strength and forced you to rebuild your life? How did you find your way forward? Share your story in the comments below. I'd love to hear how you've turned your struggles into triumphs. If this story resonated with you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who might need a reminder that even in the darkest times, brighter days lie ahead. Let's inspire each other to embrace the beauty of life's unpredictability and the power of love and resilience. Thank you for joining me on this journey.